Okay, so welcome back to once again another Fortnite Mythbusters video. The support on this series has been unreal lately, and I just want to say a massive thank you because I spend a lot of time on these videos, and the support I receive back, it just makes me so happy. So for today's episode, I'm gonna set a like goal that is extremely high. I did not expect us to hit this, but if we do, that I don't even know. So, you know what, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, so let's aim for 30,000 likes. That would be insane. If you could smash 30k, I'll probably do a Mythbusters episode with only fans. Also guys, if you do have a myth you would like me to test in the next or future episodes, go down in the comments down below and drop a quick comment of a unique myth for a pretty good chance to be featured. And also make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel, and without further ado, let's get right on into today's episode. Going straight into the first myth. The first myth is, can you bounce off a bounce pad while you are a prop? Now, in a previous episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters, we actually tested out something very similar to this, and that was, can you launch off of a launch pad while you are a prop? Unfortunately though, you weren't really able to launch off of a launch pad while you are a prop, so everybody's wondering if that's the same case for the bounce pad. So in game, when I tested this out, I placed down some bounce pads and I turned into a prop, and when I went up against it or even stood on top of the bounce pad, nothing happened. But immediately right after I kind of got out of the prop form, my players started bouncing like regular, which is pretty strange, but sadly you can't really bounce when you are a prop. Going into the next myth is, what happens when you throw a Porta Fort onto a moving supply drone? Now this is honestly a pretty interesting myth because I mean, Porta Forts, they're a lot of fun to mess around with in Fortnite. Sadly, currently in Fortnite, Porta Forts are vaulted, but maybe if you're watching this video a little bit later from the release date, you'll be able to get Porta Forts in a regular match. But when you do throw it at a moving supply drone, the Porta Fort, it will build up, but it'll immediately get destroyed because of course there's no support from it onto the ground, and it's not really gonna float in the middle of the air. I honestly really didn't expect much because in a previous episode of the Mythbusters, we actually tested out to see what happens when a Porta Fort is thrown at a supply drop, and it was very similar outcome. So sadly nothing really happens. At least it breaks immediately in air instead of some people being in some sort of like OP sky-based looking thing. Going into the next myth is, if you eat a hot chili and use a shadow bomb, will you jump or run any faster than normal? Now I know quite a lot of people like to land in the desert side of Fortnite because everyone's kind of getting sick of the whole polar peak and all of the snow side, and it's, I don't know, they've just had it in the game for so long, everybody wants it removed. In the desert, you'll find these hot chilies on the ground, and if you do eat them for just a couple of seconds, maybe 10 to 15 seconds, your player will run about like 2 times the speed, and he kind of goes crazy over it. So in game, when I tested this out, I tested to see maybe if you would run any faster if you were to eat a chili after going invisible from a shadow bomb, but every single test that I did, it kind of matched up to the exact same. You never ran any faster than if you didn't eat the chili. I guess this is kind of good to know, but unfortunately you are not able to run any faster. It doesn't make much sense, I know, but I guess that's kind of how it is, and Fortnite's kind of weird. Very similar to the previous myth. The next myth is, if you eat a hot chili then turn into a prop, will you run faster than if you didn't? For all of you prop hunt map builders out there, or all of you pro prop hunt players, you guys might want to pay attention because when I tested this out in game, surprisingly, when you do eat a hot chili and you are a prop, this time you're actually able to run like 2 times the speed, which is pretty cool. I know literally every single test we've done with the hot chili so far has kind of been a letdown, so actually having something in the positive where you actually are able to run faster and the effect does transfer over to the props is pretty nice to have, and I'm glad that you could run faster, because now whenever I play prop hunt, I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for this. But keep in mind though, if you are running away from someone in prop hunt, they do have guns, and they'll definitely get you, so you better be tricky. The next myth is, what happens when you throw a Porta Fort at the max build height? Will it go above, or will it destroy just about instantly? Now this is actually a very good myth, and it could possibly be a brand new technique to get builds that go above the build limit, and you definitely could get high ground. if you do fights this high up into the sky. Now when I tested this out, I built a massive 1x1 all the way up into the sky extremely fast. I know I'm the world's fastest 1x1 builder, but when I got up to the max build limit, you had to go one level down below because unfortunately you weren't be able to play a floor on your own at the very top of the limit. But when I did throw the Porta 4 at the max build height, unfortunately it does not build at all. I guess Fortnite really got this on lockdown. They really don't want any builds going above the max sky limit. So this is pretty unfortunate. I guess the only way you could really go above the sky build limit is if you have a rift, or maybe if you have like a launch pad up at the max build height. But as far as I know, you are unable to get any walls or any floors, anything really built up above that max limit, which is kind of sucky. It would be cool to have build fights go all the way up into the sky. That would be insane, and I think they should get rid of the height limit, honestly. Jumping into the next myth, the next myth is, will a shockwave or impulse grenade affect a supply drone? Now, kind of building off of the second myth we did in today's episode, where basically I threw a Porta 4 at a supply drone. This is very similar, but the outcome is a little bit different. Unfortunately, the supply drones aren't really affected by these impulse or shockwave grenades, but what is crazy is if you do throw it at the front, maybe like the direction that the supply drone is kind of going at, right when it makes impact, it'll automatically turn the supply drone into a new direction, and it'll start kind of flying as if it hit a wall or like a tree or something. So we're kind of keeping this in mind if you ever do find like a grenade in game or something that is throwable. If you do throw it at a supply drone and for some reason you need it to go a separate direction than it really is, I guess you just have to get it right at the perfect spot and it'll turn around. But it would be cool to kind of throw impulse grenades at these supply drones and have them go flying into the air, just like how we do when we throw them on the ground next to us or even enemies. Going into the next myth is, what happens when you jump off the map after winning a game in Season 9? Now, I tested this myth way back in like Season 3, Season 4, and that was literally over an entire year ago. It's crazy how far Fortnite has come, but a lot of people are asking me to redo this myth because, I mean, Fortnite, they changed how their game works, they changed stuff in like the patches, so maybe something was affected by this. But anyways, in-game when I tested this out, I used a custom matchmaking code, and it's basically just like a regular game, just a private lobby, so it's only me and my other account. So I then kill my other account, so that the game basically is over, you get the victory royale, and I jumped in the ocean, and sadly the exact same thing happens. You still die immediately on impact in the ocean. I mean, this is a bummer. It would be pretty cool if you do get a victory royale and then you literally could run around on the ocean or whatever, but I guess it kind of makes sense that the ocean, it's you die on impact no matter what, even if like you have walls down there or whatever. If you hit the ocean, you're dead immediately, and after winning the game, that still applies. So I guess overall, if you just won a game and you're right next to the ocean, if you want to do like a little dance or like take the L, I suggest not jumping in the water. Going into the next myth is, what happens when you use a bush then turn into a prop? Will the bush stay on or will it break instantly? So when I tested this myth out, it was very easy, of course. All what I did was spawn in a bush, got myself a prop gun and some props right next to me. I put on the bush and turned into the prop, and surprisingly the bush was able to stay on, but it's not a really good tactic you want to use in prop hunt. I guess really the only advantage you could have to this is if you turn it into something extremely small, like a can or a little bottle. That way the bush will cover you entirely, and people know that you can't turn it into a bush in prop hunt. So you basically win the game every single time. But I guess if you do plan on turning into something a little bit bigger, it's probably not the best idea because the bush kind of floats up in the middle of the entire thing, and it looks kind of weird, and they definitely would know that's a player. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe if you are new to the channel. Make sure to go comment down a unique myth for a pretty good chance to be featured in the next or future episodes. And let me know what you guys think about the brand new shotgun being added into the game, and I will see you guys next time.